Welcome back, Raiders. We've been away for 5.5 months, and I hope you are as excited to be back in the land of orange as we are. We all know that putting structure back into our lives will be beneficial for our mental health and well-being.
We want to affirm with you that the YRHS administrative team, along with the Yorkton Regional High School staff, have established a safe return to school plan in order to put your physical and mental well-being at a low risk. A short video was posted on our website a couple of weeks ago, along with 2 documents detailing what your return would look like.
Rest assured, if you're still feeling confused or anxious about what school will look like in 2020 during a world pandemic, this presentation will be sure to alert you to the changes. As Raiders have always done, we have full faith that you can live up to the plan and help us out to make this transition as smooth as possible for you, for your peers, and for your staff.
We are all going to be following a brand new daily routine. The first thing we're going to do before we even leave home is perform a health check. Once we arrive at school, we're going to don a mask and keep the darn thing on all day. We're going to enter the building through our designated entrance. Once we get into the school, we're going to sanitize our hands at our various hand sanitization stations. We've got a direction of traffic for you to follow. We're going to go directly to our very first period classroom, and we strongly encourage you to take your break at lunch outside of the building. We'll use our designated exit to leave at the end of the day.
It is important that you do a health check every morning before coming to school. If you have any one of these symptoms, you are to stay home. Fever, vomiting or nausea, shortness of breath, diarrhea, general aches and pains. Continuing with our health check, if you have any of the following symptoms, you are to stay home: coughing and sneezing, extreme exhaustion, close contact with a confirmed case of COVID-19, headache, sore throat, and if you have pre-existing medical conditions, you need to seek medical clearance in order to be at school. If you have any of the symptoms mentioned, you are to stay home, have a parent or guardian call the attendance line, and we strongly encourage that you call the 811 health line.
We have a traffic plan in our school that everybody will have to follow, and at first it will seem complicated, but once you get used to it, it'll be simple. So first of all, grade 9s enter and exit through the main entrance doors and proceed through the A-wing hallway or directly to their class. Grade 10s will enter and exit through the north entrance in the lower A-wing hallway, all the way at the end. Grade 11s will enter and exit through the band hallway entrance and will proceed through the Barry Sharp foyer, down the B-wing, then directly to class, or they may enter through the south A-wing stairwell entrance, straight up the stairs into the upper A-wing. Grade 12s, you will also enter and exit through the band hallway entrance and proceed through the Barry Sharp foyer, down the B-wing, then directly to class, or you may enter through the north A-wing stairwell entrance, straight up the stairs to the upper A-wing. Bus students, you will enter and exit through the regular north C-wing entrance, the regular bus doors, or the west entrance by the gym, wherever your bus drop-off area is, and then proceed directly to class. Students with special transportation needs, staff will create entrance and exit plans for these students. And our staff. All of our staff will enter and exit through the loading dock entrance, and we will ask students not to use the loading dock this year.
With the wearing of masks being mandatory in the YRHS, there are some simple things that we need to follow. Your teachers will touch on these guidelines within this slide, and I'm going to ask you teachers to show you how to demonstrate how to properly don and doff a face mask when this slide is finished. We are also looking into purchasing, of course, YRHS Raider masks for staff and students. If you're interested, pay attention to announcements, and we'll be placing an order soon.
Social distancing has become a common term in today's language. I'll have your classroom teacher speak to the points on this slide, keeping in mind that your timetable has been built to limit your contact with as few people as possible. Hence, that describes your morning and afternoon cohorts.
So the next thing we need to talk about is personal hygiene and sanitation. Of course, by now you know that you've got to wash your hands often and sanitize your hands. We have sanitizing stations throughout the school. After you go to the washroom, after you touch your mask by accident, after you touch something that a lot of people touch, you need to either wash your hands or sanitize. Now, if you have to sneeze, you should take your mask off and then sneeze into your elbow and then put your mask back on. Right after you do that, you should again wash your hands or sanitize. And then you also need to make sure that you have fresh masks every day. If you have a cloth one, you should wash it every night, let it dry, come back with it clean. And if you are using disposable masks, you should use a new one each day.
The school has been provided with proper disinfecting solution to be used for shared objects. There will be times when students may be asked to use the solution to disinfect a shared object or surface that they may have contacted. The school has employed an individual to continuously disinfect large rooms and areas. An example would be a classroom after students have eaten their lunch.
Please respect the directional traffic flow outlined in the building. Use the entrances that are designated for your grade. Use the hallways that have been designated for you as well by grade. Keep in mind the Barry Sharp foyer is for the majority of grade 9 and 10 traffic flow. The B-wing link hallway by the library is primarily for grade 11 and 12 students. There are some exceptions, which would be if a student has a PAA class in the C-wing or is coming in the morning off of a school bus. Please remember that the upper A-wing is only for grade 11 and 12 students, and an exception would be if a grade 10 student has a grade 11 class. The lower A-wing is only for grade 9 and 10 students.
The above schedule is for our grade 10, 11, and 12 students to refer to their former Maplewood timetable to be able to convert it into our present Pent schedule.
The next 5 slides indicate by grade when break times are to take place in both the morning and the afternoon classes. You will notice that the grade 12s have an option to take breaks in 2 different formats, which will be determined by the teacher. It is suggested you take a picture of the appropriate grade slide so you are aware of your break times.
We will be continuing to take attendance, business as usual, at the YRHS. Taking attendance is important for contact tracing in case there is an incident, and it's very important to remember that with our 2.5-hour classes, one class is the equivalent to 2.5 school days.
So the next thing that we need to talk about is classroom discipline. Now, as raters, we have high expectations of all of our students, and I've got to say that our students meet those expectations, and everybody just needs to basically get along, be decent to one another, especially in these times, and that's what we'll see. However, sometimes things happen, and if somebody makes a bad decision, a teacher will be addressing the student in class once over whatever the behavior might be, and asks the student to wait in the hall, and then we'll have a hallway conversation with that student. The student will be invited to re-enter as their final warning. If the teacher has to address the student and wait in the hallway again, the grade appropriate vice principal or a school counselor will be called to meet them in the hallway. If a teacher addresses that student to wait in the hallway for the grade appropriate vice principal, that vice principal might escort them down to the proper entrance to be sent home if the problem can't be resolved.
All teachers have set up a Google Classroom, and it will be the student responsibility to enter the class through the class code provided. This would be a great time for your teacher to give you their class code to Google Classroom in case you haven't already joined their class.
Last year we engaged in supplemental learning, which was optional for high school students. This year your learning is once again mandatory. Since you have chosen face-to-face classes, this means that you are expected to be in attendance and do the work from the classroom setting. The Google Classroom is set up to support you in your face-to-face classes. It will not be used to make our face-to-face classes into online learning.
So this year, we have moved to a common lunch hour. Everyone has lunch at the same time. So we are encouraging all students, where possible, to leave the school during lunch period. Bagged lunches can be eaten in the morning classroom, or in the assigned courtyard, or on the front lawn of the school, weather permitting. Students can also go into the cafeteria and order food, but you have to do it by grade. So grade 9 students, you'll be able to line up at the cafeteria at 11:45 a.m. Grade 10 students, you'll be able to line up at noon. Grade 11 students, you will line up at 12:15, and grade 12 students, you can line up at 12:30. We're going to watch how traffic flow works, and we'll monitor this plan and see how many people are in the cafeteria and need to be in the building, and we'll adjust our plan accordingly.
Open campus means you have the right to leave the building and property on the lunch hour. It does not mean you have the right to leave the property during your short breaks in the 2.5-hour classes. We encourage you to utilize the open campus during your lunch. You will need a physical break from the confined space that you are allowed to be in. Please ensure that you have your parents' and guardians' consent to do so. Our campus is closed to outside visitors. If you have forgotten something, your parent or guardian can drop it off at the loading dock and phone the main office to inform staff that an item has been placed there for pickup and delivery to you, the student.
Just like we have grouped you into different areas of the school by grade, we also have washrooms set aside in each of those areas. So when you go to need the washroom, you'll find the washroom closest to your classroom, clearly labeled in your area.
Raiders, we know that you will get thirsty during the day, so we need you to bring a clearly labeled personal water bottle to stay hydrated. You'll be able to fill those water bottles as you need at our filling stations, which are located in the main hallway of the school.
Last spring, we didn't have our usual year end when it came to returning textbooks and getting our caution fee charges figured out and returned to students. So to start up this year, we need you to take care of this immediately. By Monday, September 14th, we need you to bring any of your old textbooks and learning materials, could be library books, etc., to your first period class. By Monday, September 14th. Please don't forget. Last spring, Mrs. McBride and I had the pleasure of emptying over 800 school lockers. We bagged and tagged everything. Then we hung around for 4 days waiting for you to show up to come claim your contents. And most of you didn't. So, during period 1, during Pent 1, I am going to do my darndest to return any locker contents back to you.
Students may be wondering how to take books out of the library. The first thing that you can do is take a picture of this QR code, which will allow you to book a book out of the library, and it will be delivered to your class. You can also visit our website, as this presentation will be posted and the QR code will be there, and you can use the YouTube link above it to go and find out exactly how it works. And at the end of this presentation, your teachers may take you to this YouTube link and show you how it works as well.
As you know, we do not have enough devices for all students, and a new process is in place for booking the library Chromebooks. Students cannot sign out individual Chromebooks on their own. Teachers will be booking them a day in advance if they are required for their class. Chromebooks will have a process for cleaning both before and after use that will be performed by our booking staff. It would be very beneficial if you own your own device, meaning a laptop or Chromebook, to bring it to school to help you out in your academic core classes.
Even though we all know we're in a worldwide pandemic, we still may be faced with emergency situations. The first thing we need to deal with is our sick room. It has now become an isolation room. If you personally are feeling ill, inform your teacher immediately. A teacher may be concerned that you are symptomatic and will have a private conversation with you. In either case, the teacher will direct you to one of two isolation rooms and ask that you wait at the door for a trained office member to meet you. The teacher will notify the office of any student being sent to the isolation room. You will be cared for by a YRHS staff member, keeping in mind there are protocols in which this staff member will don PPE, mask, eye coverings, face shield, gloves, gown, and will have no bare skin exposed. Your parent or guardian will be called, and the trained staff member will stay with you to keep you comfortable until your parent or guardian arrives.
On September 14th at 11:30 a.m., the fire alarm will sound. We will not be evacuating the school at this time, though. We are sounding the alarm for new students to familiarize themselves with the sound. There will be 6 drills throughout the year. After this presentation, your teacher will tell you which exit you will be taking in the event that a drill or alarm is sounded during your morning class. Your afternoon teacher will repeat the process.
We will be performing 2 lockdown drills this school year. Providing they are drills, we are asking that students remain in their seats, as opposed to crowding in a small corner as usual drills have been performed in the past.
The family of Raiders is a very large one, full of many individuals that come from families of varying values and beliefs. The family of Raiders has 4 statements of values and beliefs. Never before has it been more important for each of us to live by them.
Now more than ever are our statement of values and beliefs important. As Raiders we shall conduct ourselves at all times in a manner that brings honor, pride, and dignity to ourselves and our school. As Raiders, we will work towards a school atmosphere in which everyone feels safe and supported. As Raiders, we recognize and respect differences in people, opinions, and ideas. Finally, as Raiders, we encourage and celebrate each other's efforts and achievements.
Family of Raiders. Our year will definitely be unpredictable, but let's make the best of it by following the expectations laid out today. Don't forget to exit the building using your assigned exit, and have a great year.